recording now. But point being with all this, my takeaway is if they have tax liability, Sungage is broken, you should never be losing a deal. And I don't expect you guys to understand everything I'm doing here. I know I just wrote it really quick. But what I do expect you to do is understand that it's broken and call Tom, right? If you don't understand, you're in-house and you call me and like, hey, here's the situation, I can cook up some crazy situation really, really quickly that's just absolutely mind-boggling. It's an incredible opportunity for the homeowner. All you have to figure out is where's the pain point, right? The guy really wants windows. The guy really wants HVAC. The guy really wants a new roof. If you can kind of figure out what problem could money solve and then get me on the phone, then I'll help. You shouldn't lose any deals. I'm just saying, like, maybe you guys can't do what I could do here. I don't know why you couldn't, but let's say you couldn't. You can definitely call me or text me or say, I'm going to cook up something for you that you can't say no to. Any questions about Sungage? So 2, if they don't like Sungage, and there's a few reasons they might not, the biggest one that I see is if you knocked on someone's door, they just don't, like the wife is just going to see that $113,000 price tag and try to cancel, right? She's dumb. She's wrong. There's good debt and bad debt, but who cares? Like, don't push stuff on people if that's not what they want. You know, so in-house, I'll kind of leave this open. Most of my customers are doing either they want to do a PPA. I typically lead with that. And if you don't want a PPA, then you have to buy it, you know, and then they tell me, oh, no, I want to buy it. No, okay, well, I'm here to work for you. You know, let's go to Sungage. But I'll kind of start with this just because I don't want to try to push a loan on someone and then have them cancel in 3 to 5 days, right? Or, you know, install it and then they hate me or whatever goes along there. So when someone knocks on their door and they weren't expecting to go solar, a lot of people were expecting to go solar, especially these smart people, then go in there and give them the best quote or bring them the most value and sign them up. But if they weren't really expecting to go solar, then the whole PPA narrative helps them feel really comfortable with moving forward. And in my opinion, I would love to scale our company on PPAs for a few reasons. The biggest reason for me is there's only one doc. You sign a Good Leap doc, you do a Good Leap welcome call, it gets done. You get paid. There's not like all this nonsense. We have a lot of deals like in SGIP Thrive, Sungage land, where the sales rep can't get it to NTP, can't get it installed, and it's just like there, and you already bought yourself, you know, tickets to see a UFC fight because you thought you were making money, but that's not even real money. You know, and Sungage is 2 to 4 weeks. So the Good Leap PPA is going to take about 2 weeks to get NTP, right? And then it's going to take about 1 week to get equipment because we have to work through CED, it just takes forever. So you're looking at a 3-week install, and then it takes about 2 weeks after that to get paid. So already, you know, here's 2 to 4. We're more like 5 to 8 with Good Leap. But you're looking at a 2 to 3 week install. It's actually really, really good. I've done a lot of PPAs in the past, and no one ever did them this quick for me. I'll get them done really quick. But if you have a team that you're trying to grow, this is a really easy product to build. Aurora is really simple. The proposal looks really good. The numbers make really good. It has the Tesla batteries that everyone wants. You're not selling a loan. You're just selling a rate. So the way that I sell this is I go in, I look at their bill. I help them understand that you're paying 45 cents. You know, so this is no debt. There's no loan. I'm going to be your new power company, and I'm just going to drop your rate down to 25 cents. Okay? Oh, wow. If I get approved for that, I would do it every time. You know, okay, what was your last name? I start signing them up. Super, super easy. You don't have to talk about loans. You don't have to talk about debt. You don't have to talk about tax credits. You don't have to talk about dealer fees. You don't have to talk about, it's just so easy. So I feel like you leave a lot of deals on the table for the people that are like, well, thanks for coming by, but I wasn't planning on buying $100,000 of stuff today. So you have to, as a closer, ask some discovery questions there at the beginning to make sure you're not leaving like an easy PPA deal on the table because you want to fit them into a Sungage box, because this is really a good product. And it's the best product because it's so scalable. You don't have to worry about the tax credit. It's easier to pitch on the doors, right? A lot of the guys in California that are doing, their teams are all doing 2 to 3 deals a week. It's because they're leading with the PPA. If you're knocking doors and this is a no loan option, there's no debt, you're going to find more people that are spontaneously willing to sign up for it than if you're like, hey, I'm going to sell you a loan. Anyways, any questions about the Good Leap PPA?
the rebuttal for the escalator again? Like I asked you to help me out with that rebuttal that my wife gave me on that escalator.
Yeah. So I don't really mention the escalator until I get into signing docs. So the rate's 25 cents, and then hey, here's the docs. You have to show them something in the docs, or else they feel like you're hiding something. So you scroll through the docs and like make sure your address is correct, make sure your phone number. Okay, let me show you this part. 25 cents, it goes up 3.5% a year. That's the best part, right? I'm sure if you were with PG&E, if PG&E called you today and said, hey, Andy, I'm sorry we've screwed you in the past by doubling your rate, tripling your rate over the last 3 years. We promise we're never going to increase our rate more with inflation. Just 3%. That allows us to take care of our guys, bring you power. You'd probably stay with them. And they're like, yeah, if they actually were willing to commit to me. So that's what people love about us is we have a rate lock guarantee. We only will go up with inflation. That allows us to replace your batteries, do all the maintenance. Who knows what labor and gas is going to cost in 10 years. So we have to be able to adjust with inflation. Now let's move on. That's the best part is we have a rate lock guarantee. That's the best part. I don't want a rate lock guarantee. I don't want it to ever go up ever. I think you want to own your own solar. Pivot, So hopefully that's not, usually these guys almost always are educated. They know more. They're comfortable with the cost. They're ready to make a big decision, $50,000, $100,000. These guys are just interested in a program that's going to lower their rate, And really, an escalator. I know so many people they're unhappy with Sunrun and they're like, oh, I hate it. My rate. I've had it for 5 years and my rate's gone up $50. And they're like, have you seen how much PG&E's gone up?
Right.
And I actually break it down for them. I'm like, you're saving $4,000 a year, but they're like unhappy because they're in their own little bubble. And they don't realize that their rate's gone up, but everyone else's rate has tripled or doubled, So it's like you're going to save a ton of money with the lease. Would you save more money with the loan? Yeah. Typically, what it looks like, let's say the average homeowner is going to stay in their house for, 7 years. But let's look at 25 years. So the lease is going to be cheaper up until like year 5 right here. The loan is just going to be right across. You're going to save the most. PG&E is like this. So you can sometimes kind of help homeowners see that what's important to you. Are you going to be here forever? Or are you just trying to save the most amount of money and then have the easiest transfer experience? Because you're going to save all of this. That might be $5,000 more of savings with a lease. And then with the way PG&E is going, like this ain't going to be too bad down the road. Any questions? That was a good question.
For the maintenance on a PPA system, I know, certain places have different maintenance setups. Does GoodLeap have a specific one that we could talk about in this meeting?
Yeah, so GoodLeap owns it. They're a multi-billion-dollar company. There are no surprise costs associated with it. And the way that I talk about PPA warranties is I say this, like imagine that you were leasing a car from me, but this isn't a lease, this is a PPA. So imagine instead of paying me $300 a month, you paid me 50 cents per mile, right? So what happens if your car breaks down? I don't make money, and you don't pay money. You see what I'm saying? So I'm really motivated to get this up and get it working, and you're not going to ever pay for, you're only going to pay for the value you get. You're only going to pay for the power we produce. If it's not producing, you don't pay for it. It's a PPA. You're purchasing the power.
I guess specifically, like, oh great, you guys come out, you guys plug it in, you guys get it up and running in 3 months. If it goes out, I can call GoodLeap.
Yeah.
I guess that's the point.
Yeah, you'll call us, honestly, for the first 10 years, because that's who GoodLeap's going to call. But I'll bill GoodLeap, So honestly, the PPA is an even more robust warranty than solar insure. Battery replacements, everything, Tesla. It's really good, like cookie cutter option. And then there's no debt, So there's a lot of benefits to it, and it's easier to transfer than a loan. It's because a loan, whoever buys the SunGauge in 5 years is going to have to get approved for that SunGauge loan. And this actually happened to my buddy that's now suing SunGauge, Keaton's buddy, I guess I should say. He got a SunGauge loan at 2% because it was like COVID times, and they went to sell their house, and SunGauge refused to originate a loan below 5% because the interest rates have gone up. They can't lose money, but in their contract it said they were going to transfer it. So now there's like a class action lawsuit with SunGauge. So we're pretty safe right now because Sungage rates are so high, they're only going to come down. So that's not going to be a problem for our customers. But that's kind of the stuff you get into with loans. Is it transferable? Absolutely. Do they have to get approved to take on that debt? Yes. PPA, they don't care about your credit. They'll transfer it to anyone. There might be a transfer fee. Yep. And then stories tell have the most impact with what you're talking about, Andy. It's like, well, what do you do when you have a power purchase agreement with PG&E right now? If it goes down, whose problem is that?
Sure.
Right? And you have say that, your example again right there. Oh, just like when you moved in here, you signed up with PG&E.
Yeah. So you bought the house, right? You called up PG&E. Hey, I'm the new homeowner. Want to put the power bill on it? It's the same process with this PPA.
Yeah.
So the person you sell a home, you rent it out. They just call us up, say, hey, we want to put the power bill in.
Yeah, using examples they already know is really effective. Any questions?
The solar insure part's really. I'll bring this up. So you could confidently say you're getting the same quality you would with a paid for warranty, a solar insure warranty, as you would with this PPA at no cost. You're getting the same benefits, replacement benefits, maintenance benefits for the life of the system. The same level of maintenance is going to be offered for the life of the system, as you would be getting if you paid for a warranty that would cost X, Y, and Z.
Yeah, that's a great way to build value. I typically go the opposite way, and I'm like, solar insure is as good as a PPA, because a lot of people are like, I want the PPA because they don't have to buy a new battery. I'm like, well, the battery gets replaced with solar insure. But that's because everyone's used to selling PPAs, and I had to help them get comfortable with selling Sungage. Like, you got to understand, these guys tend to go out of business. They tend to not pay. They tend to screw me over. GoodLeap looks really good, and we have a really good partnership where I don't have to pay out of pocket for the equipment. So there's a few things I'm doing to save myself. But there's a reason we run Sungage. There's a reason we want people to own stuff. Okay, I'm going to move on to step 3. So basically, if they can't do one of those things, or they don't get the tax credit and they don't want a PPA, then you're going to do some Thrive stuff. It might be the 5x40. I don't know about the 5x40 right now. I just found out that I thought they were 2 20-kilowatt batteries, because that's how Tygo had it written. But it's 4 10 kilowatts, and they're pretty big batteries.
That's a lot of space in the wall.
Yeah, and they each have to be 3 feet apart.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, so oh shit is right. I don't know. Point being is, like, there's just a lot of uncertainty with this. Will I do it to win a deal? Absolutely. I'm looking at, I think I can probably start signing deals right now with Point Guard. Point Guard does the whole 40 kilowatt stack, same price as Tygo, and it's just like a battery cabinet on one spot. So that we could do. Yeah, it's going to work. And I can probably just go back and edit those Tygo contracts and make them Point Guard. None of your homeowners care. Right?
Okay.
No one likes Tygo. They're not buying Tygo because it's Tygo.
It's Tigo. Right house.
It's definitely Tygo. Yeah, you thought wrong.
I had a maintenance guy tell me it was Tigo.
That's what they said.
I had
What?
a maintenance guy tell me that. Yeah, he said it's actually Tigo. I'm like, really?
Guys over here
Yeah, I'm
said
like, all right. Interesting.
What?
But I don't know. I'm with you. I'm 50-50 here.
I thought it was Tigo, but
Yeah, I feel like it should be
Tigo.
Tigo.
Battery.
Where's Miles at?
T would be T.
Miles just had lunch with him, so he would know.
Yeah.
Because he told me that on Friday, so it's actually Tigo. I was like, oh.
So with Thrive, already, we're going to take 3 weeks to get NTP. For sure. Maybe longer. Then after install, it's going to be 3 more weeks to get paid. So you're going to get paid, like, we're talking about 6 to 10 weeks. Which again, this isn't a big deal. I have plenty of deals in this pipeline. But you need to understand, like, this is, I would have lost the deal other ways. And maybe you're fine with this, but is your setter? You know what I'm saying? And then your setter's like hitting me up. He's like, hey, Tom, I got a deal. Can I get my advance? I'm like, no. So we're not doing advances.
No advance.
Like, I know you guys can go and sell these. They're great to sell. But like, I can't be like advancing out all this money on like stuff that's 6 to 10 weeks out that isn't, and again, they're not profitable. Like, I make enough money to make it worth everyone's time, but not to go into debt for it. You know, like, we're going to make $3,000 and then 20% of the commission. Like, I'm not going to go into debt on all the magical stuff there. So this is exciting. This is why I can close it. I feel like a 9 out of 10 clip right now. Is there's nothing I miss, and that's all we're doing is you want to capture everything. Maybe you're doing 2 out of 10 right here because that's like a lot of value, and you can sell higher. You can make a bigger commission. You pull this, you start getting like 3 out of 10, maybe 4. And you do this, it bumps you up. That's the only reason I gave you guys this last week, is there's nothing more expensive than getting in-house, right? The cost has already been paid. They actually were there. You're sitting in-house. Don't lose the deal. If you can't sign it, at least have an understanding of how I would close it so you can call me and I can help you with it. That's my whole point, is don't lose the deal. We shouldn't be losing any deals. We have so many freaking cool tricks in our pocket.
So if you're leading with SunGauge, or not leading, you're leading with the PPA, and then you go into ownership with SunGauge, and then something happens, how are you pivoting down to like Thrive? You know what I'm saying? Like, how are you going, okay, well, hey, that was a really expensive thing. Now I got this really cheap thing that
So it's all in discovery.
Yeah.
So I keep talking about, you have discovery and you have black swans, right? So you should not be going around with a shotgun. Here's a quote. Here's a quote. Right? Like, you only give quotes when people already said yes, pretty much. So you do your discovery. You're like, what has kept you from going solar in the past? I know you have talked to someone before. Why don't you have it right now? Oh, well, I don't want a loan, or I don't get the tax credit. I don't blah, 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 blah. I'm like, oh, that's why this guy hasn't gone solar yet. And yeah, you do get, these are more common because these guys all got taken, So you're in-house, you're like, okay, well, here's, what if I, you're paying $300 right now. So what I hear from you is you probably wouldn't do it for a lease that's $220, or something like, you want to own it. Basically, you can get them to commit to saying yes, and then you show them a solution. So, and I can do this on the door. I can do this over the phone. They're like, really quick, why didn't you go solar? Well, it was too expensive and it was this and that. Okay, so if it was less than $25,000 and it cut your bill in half, that's the only way you'd look into solar. So you can figure it out pretty quick, and you got to discover those black swans.
So you're not pivoting, you're using discovery before you give them an option.
Yes. I might go in and I might do something. So something you have to do is before you do discovery, try to get into black swans, and you have to frame. So if this doesn't happen, you're losing deals for sure. Your framing is like, hey, before I go any further, do you agree to sign up? Basically. And you're going to say that in like a nice, pretty way. But you might say something like in your frame, so my job today is to submit an application for the PPA program. If we can't get you approved, then you'll have to buy it, or you're going to have to stick with PG&E. And just right there in that frame, oh, I'm not signing up for anything today no matter what. Great. I'm glad I didn't waste an hour with you, and then you weren't really listening because you thought you were just shopping. So you kind of got to frame that right there at the beginning. Okay, well, to be candid with you, like I've got a schedule full of people that are signing up because of the deadline that's coming up with 2025. So if you just are shopping mode, I got a guy in the office. His name's Andy. I'll give you his email. I'll give you his phone number, and he'll help you shop, right? My job is for people that know they're going to go solar. I'm the solutions guy, right? So I do the construction, right? I know you get a lot of brokers that come in. We're the actual construction company. So whether you want to do a loan or a PPA, or do you want me to try to get some SCHIP Thrive stuff going on for you with the tax credits and the state incentives, I don't care. I just want to do your work. You're going to have to hire someone to do your work, right? They're like, yeah, right? So, and you're going to go solar. They're like, yeah. So it's really just about finding the right solution for you. So if we can find the right solution today, is there any reason you wouldn't apply? And I'm not going to move on until they agree at the very beginning that there's some sort of situation where they would sign up today. And if there's not, they're like, no, there's just no way. I'm so new to this. I would have to get 2 to 3 bids, Okay, let's call my competitors. Let's get those guys in. I'll come in afterwards. And not saying don't go to that easily. But your frame, you're going to kind of be like, I like that frame where it's like, I'm here to get you approved for the PPA program. If I don't, you're going to have to buy it or stick with PG&E. And they're like, oh, well, I would never do a PPA. I want to own it. And then you just kind of go and discover it that way. But you discover a lot in your frame. You see what they push back on. And they aren't really listening until you tell them, we're going to submit an application today. Those people that are just shopping, they weren't really listening the whole time. And then you get to the end, you ask them to buy. And they're like, oh, whoa, we're doing something today? I thought we were just shopping. It's like, If you didn't frame, then how can you be mad at them? You know, it's like a girl or take someone out on a date. Hey, just to be clear, we're just having dinner, right? Or other way around, however you want to work that.
I got a good example. So like the 12 kilo I just sold on Saturday, pretty much in the beginning when I sat down on the table, he was like, well, how long do I have to do this? And I was like, well, I'll be here for an hour. By the end of this, we'll submit the application. I kind of just made it very clear right there that we're going to get this expedited. And the reason why is because there's 11 weeks left, or now 10 weeks. We got 10 weeks left to get this project installed, so and up and running. So you kind of just got to have that sense of urgency.
Just come talk about your deals and what you're doing that's working.
While he's walking up, do y'all get at the door and say, "Hey, I'm just here for a quote"? Does that happen ever? I'm just kind of getting an idea.
What?
If there's been an issue or something.
Oh, okay. There it goes. Like that.
Yeah. Yeah, you guys want to shop? Like, I got a guy's number for you. I don't have any problem with that, but my schedule is full of people signing up. So respectfully, like, I can't shop with you if it's going to help. If Nancy was going to sign up today, you understand?
So kind of right along the same lines, great minds think alike. I was going to kind of go over the same thing today as well, just a little different aspect. So he kind of spoke about the orders of the pay, right, from the installer selection. And then he kind of just brushed into right now kind of how to pivot. And I think that one of the discrepancies in pivoting in the sale is that you do it when the customer changes their mind or they don't agree to what you're doing. The pivot goes like in the beginning. So the pivot is like how I'm going to set up the play. Very best way to say it is like you're the quarterback of the situation. You're going to pivot when the wide receiver is not open. You know what I'm saying? To another wide receiver. You're not going to wait till you throw the ball and hope it goes to somebody else. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day. So you can't throw the ball in the air and then hope it just ends in another person's situation. When that wide receiver is not available, you need to pivot as a quarterback into a different direction. Now, it's going to start off with the way you frame the conversation and the way you put it into play. Discovery is probably the most important aspect of it. When I sit down with somebody, I usually spend the first 15 to 20 minutes really building rapport and getting to know that customer and building value with them as far as liking me so that they make the decision. Now, we got to understand there's 3 reasons why people are not going to buy something, right? Number 1, if they don't like you. Number 2, if they don't like the product. And number 3, if they don't like the price, right? So the direction of the price or where the money is going to go, right, is the most important thing. If they're sitting down with you, the first thing you want to do is get them to like you, right? So I want them to like me. Once they like me, now I already know they had the conversation in the appointment because there's something about solar that they like. Now, people don't necessarily like solar, but they hate PG&E, so they'll take and entertain the conversation of solar. Does that make sense? Right, 2 clap. So my job is to pretty much push them into a direction where they love solar and they want to do it. Every customer that's going to sign documents already makes up the mind of what they want before they even get to the price. If a customer is really basing on the price, you'll know that before, and then you're going to go to the situation that's going to have the best price for them, if that's what they're looking for, right? So there's some people that want value, and there's some people that want a price. Now, you got to understand is that this pivot of a direction is that there's 2 types of customers shopping out there. There's individuals that are looking to make an investment onto their property, and there's people that are looking to get a lower bill. This is where you're going to go into that direction. SunGauge is for people that are looking for investment on their property. They're looking for the long haul. They're looking to add value to their situation. They want more bang for their buck. The BPA is for people that are looking for a lower bill. They're looking to save money short term. They want that type of understanding. They want that type of experience. And then Thrive is obviously for somebody that's going to be in a situation where they just need the best deal possible. We really don't care how it goes. These individuals are not going to care really what batteries it is, what's into play. They just want to know I'm getting the best possible deal. It's going to be a great situation for me. So you just got to have different type of situations. What I want to kind of talk about is like the comparison of the financiers. So you understand once you target the customer, what to lay out to them, which is going to sound the best to that individual. Does that make sense? All right, 2 clap. All right, so PPA obviously is a third-party ownership. It's fixed or it has an escalator, right? The one we have obviously has an escalator to it. So it goes to 3.5%. I would emphasize, right, if I'm digging towards the PPA, I would start talking to these people about how long they've been there, how much was the rates when they first moved in. I was sitting down with somebody, Ryan was shadowing me. He told me when he first moved in that property, his bill was $80 was the highest. Now his bill was up to $900. You know what I'm saying? That's a person that he's seen the escalation of PG&E. I'm going to emphasize that. And I'm going to say the good thing about it, PG&E went up 16%. It will never go up that high, right? If I'm talking about escalators, to answer your question right there, if I wanted to paint a picture of it being something beautiful and a blessing to them, which is what I want to do, I would emphasize to them that when they first moved in the home, which is what I say verbatim, when you first moved in the home, you moved into this property, you called PG&E. You said, I want to get my lights turned on. They asked you for the last 4 of your social, your address, your phone number, your name. They turn your lights on. What PG&E didn't do is they didn't tell you any contract or any agreement of how much they're going to raise your rates every single month or what it's going to be in the future. At least with us, we'll have an agreement in writing that it will never go up past 3.5%. So we'll lock you in that it'll stay exactly the same every single year. You'll have an estimated or an expected increase. So it's controlled, right? Now, in comparison, obviously, to the loan, which we'll get to, is totally different. The tax incentives, they go to the company. So the company benefits from all incentives, whether it's SGIP, whether it's tax credits, whether it's any type of thing like that. When it's a PPA, the company gets all those benefits. So people that don't qualify for these benefits, it's ideal that they don't even try to apply for it, right? So if you know they're not going to qualify, this is something I can also get in my discovery, right? What's your annual income? Well, we make like $20,000 a year. We're on Social Security. You're probably not going to qualify for the incentives, right? If you're not on CARE, if you're not on that, you're probably not going to get SGIP. You're not going to get any tax returns. There's really no point in pivoting into a loan situation for these people unless you thrive it, right? So now I might know if they want ownership. I'm trying to figure out the sweet spot for this individual on what they want. So they're going to tell you what they want before they actually get to the pitch. So you're pivoting in the discovery. The maintenance is included with the PPA. This is beautiful. Savings potential. It's moderate and it's a locked rate. So there's going to have steady savings from now on, but it's going to be on a locked rate and a fixed rate that's going to continue to rise. Home value increase, no. Contract term is typically 20 to 25 years, and their buyout portion, most PPA companies give an option to buy out after 15 years. All right, I'm not sure if that's correct with Good Leap. Is it 5 years? 5 years. Okay, so they give an option at 5 years with Good Leap, even better. Any questions on that? The PPA. So I think what's important with this, and what I'm trying to explain to you guys from a closer's perspective, is understanding the prospect on who to pitch it to, so that that's your ideal target. When you understand what that person looks like, right? It's a person who wouldn't qualify for the incentives, right? Who's really upset about PG&E, right? And who's not talking about ownership. Now, when I do sit down with someone, the first questions I ask them about solar is, when was the last time you sat down with a solar company? What company was it? And why didn't you do it? If they tell me it was Sunrun, they gave me an escalator for 3.5%, what I'm not going to do is do what? For 3.5%, right? I'm not going to do that. What I am going to say is, I wouldn't do that either. That's absurd. That's like me cooking in your kitchen and then trying to sell you food. I wouldn't do that, right? You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to kind of emphasize to them, we're not in that portion, right? Now, if they say, I signed down with somebody, they were trying to offer me a loan and they said they were going to get a 30% tax credit, but I know I'm not going to qualify to tax to my accountant. They said I don't qualify for the tax credit. Then what am I not going to offer them? Then I'm not going to offer the loan, right? Then I'm going to pivot to the PPA. So I'm going to find the direction of the person I want to go in my discovery by gathering information from them. All right, guys? So after this, the ownership one. The loanership, right? The loanership, baby. All right, say loanership. Loanership. There it goes. All right, it's a loanership, right? This is a fixed rate, very similar. Fixed or same bill as PG&E. So the reason why I say it's fixed or same as PG&E, what do I mean by that? Monthly payment, fixed or same as PG&E? Huh? Well, PG&E goes up, right? When I say fixed or same as PG&E.
So we're going to put their price right about the same.
Yeah, usually I try to shoot for around the same as PG&E. My pitch, the way I do it is basically, I'm going to pretty much lock you in here right now so it doesn't continue to rise like it's been doing. Imagine I could have met you 20 years ago and freezed it right where it was right there, right? So that's how I kind of emphasize to them. This is how I push for maximum commissions to actually price them as high as possible. I say the goal with solar is to freeze it where it is right now so it won't continue to rise every single year like it did before, all right? So I'm selling them on a fixed rate and they're not going to have an escalator, but it's pretty much going to freeze right where it is right now, all right? The incentives go to the homeowner. Obviously, the maintenance is included. The savings is high. This has the highest potential for savings. All right, they have an opportunity to really save money for a very long period of time. Does it increase value of the home? Yes. All right, buyout portions is 5 to 25 years. It's usually the contract terms. And And then there's a buyout option, yes, if you want it, for sure. You own the system from the beginning. The next one I want to talk about, which is exciting, is the HELOC. All right, say HELOC.
HELOC.
Where'd it go? HELOC. The fuck? Tablet.
Your screen stay open longer.
I do, brother. How do I do that?
Settings.
So real quick. Let's go. No.
Display settings.
No display.
It was right at the top.
Screen time.
Stream time. Where you see it?
Auto lock right there. 2 minutes. Change it.
Okay.
Never.
Okay. Never.
Should have known that in like July.
Right. No, for sure. Right. He's got to stay forever to tell me something. Right. All right. So yeah. The HELOC. All right. This is ownership as well too. So this is an exciting situation. The monthly payment. There is no payment. Right. So homeowner pays nothing for solar.
Is this the last option you're dealing with people typically?
This is IQ Gen, correct?
Yeah, it's IQ Gen for sure. Yeah, IQ Gen. So these are my three options right here. You know what I'm saying? I mean, Thrive is going to be one of these anyway, right? So Thrive is not just by itself, right? So you have to Thrive it with a Sun Gauge, or Thrive it with only Sun Gauge, right? Or what? Yeah, that's
No,
chip too.
you can thrive with cash.
A Thrive with cash, yeah, for sure.
Drive a PPA,
Thrive with cash.
right?
No, you can't Thrive with PPA. They're already thriving that, I'm pretty sure. You can, well, yeah, it's kind of is a Thrive, right? PPA is a Thrive already included. And you could Thrive what's the other one? Climate First, right? Climate First. So Climate First is also ownership, right? So it's another loan type of product, right? Correct? Right? So it's another loan. So same thing, all right, whether it's Sun Gauge or Climate First. Only difference between Climate First and Sun Gauge takes a little bit longer. The reason why I lead with Sun Gauge is just because it pays out fast, right? So I'm in the time frame where I can't afford to live for the next 2 or 4 weeks without getting paid. I like getting paid every single week. So I push for this one. Ownership, HELOC. This is pretty exciting. So what a HELOC is, so you guys know, is that they use the customer's equity on the property to purchase the solar. So I have a customer right now. We're signing docs. They got approved for $62,000 for a HELOC. All right. So the customer is going to use that $62,000 to buy the solar system. Right. They get the solar system. They own it at that point. Right. The company HELOC has a partnership within the customer for their home. So the customer makes no payments. Now they're not paying nothing for PG&E or for solar, right?
So IQ Gen has like an actual HELOC option.
Mhm.
It's my understanding that HELOCs actually do have a payment. They have a home equity loan that is no payment, but the
Right.
HELOC would actually they would make payments on it.
Okay, cool.
It's a line of credit.
Even better. I'm sorry. I'm doing the one that you just said, the IQ Gen, the no loan payment is one we did.
Yeah,
That's what we
home
did.
equity loan.
Home equity loan, correct. So that's what we did. So perfect. IQ Gen. Change the top line to IQ Gen instead of a HELOC. So the incentives still go to the homeowner, so they can still qualify for the 30% incentive. They still can qualify for Thrive or anything like this. Maintenance is included the same way it is with ownership and the same way it is with the PPA. This doesn't change at all, right? Because they're literally just buying it cash for this day. That's really what it is. So a HELOC is basically, or I'm sorry, IQ Gen is basically the company is giving the customer a personal loan. They're taking the personal loan out on the equity of their property, and then they're using that to buy solar. So for us, it's the same thing as if they bought it cash today. It's basically a cash deal in our perspective, right? What this also does is that it puts them with the maximum savings, because now they're saving literally money from day one. So they don't even have to worry about making their first payment in 60 days. Once the system is turned on, they're saving money right away. All right, so it's a really good situation. Does the home value increase? Not really. All right, it would technically, but technically they're pretty much selling that part of the increase of the equity to the home, to the HELOC or the IQ Gen equity company. All right, contract term. This is really until the sale. So when we sit down with them, you correct me if I'm wrong, right? But until they sell the home, that's when the contract lasts. So it's pretty much as long as it takes for them to sell the property. When and if they do sell the property, that's when the company kind of benefits from this, right? So the lady I sat down with, she was just like, so basically I feel bad for my kids. I was like, okay, cool. That's a good way to look at it, right? Fuck them kids, right? Say it with me, fuck them kids.
Fuck them kids.
Right, guys.
So IQ Gen has 2 no payment options.
Okay.
Their leading option has they like it because there's a cap on it.
Mhm.
It caps out at 200K.
Okay.
But they have to either refi when their mortgage ends or sell the house when their mortgage ends. And then there's one that has no cap, and but they only have to pay it back when they
They
sell
sell it. Okay. All right, solid for
So
sure.
it's good to direct the customer like how long they're going to be in the house.
To which one, right?
Yeah.
Specifies for them, right? And the good thing about that I like with this program, especially for the closers, is that there's a loan officer that's going to reach out to them and kind of take it from there.
Yeah.
So we kind of passed it off. We're basically, even though you guys set the appointment for us, we set the appointment for them. You know what I'm saying? So we just set it to set it. And then they have someone else that comes in and kind of closes the deal based on the actual finances of the term and break down what's going to be best for them. Now we can definitely suggest and migrate them towards a certain direction, but kind of once they get there, they kind of take it from there. We line them up with a loan officer and they take over from there.
So basically, how that conversation will go is like they'll talk to them and be like, hey, like I'm gonna be living here X, Y, Z. I think that this would be a good option. But yeah, exactly.
Straight up, absolutely. And I mean, it was basically after we already applied for SunGauge and they got that non-eligible. You know what I'm saying? So just like, oh, now they're all bummed out. Oh, you know what? I got one more. Merry Christmas.
What's the credit requirement for that?
Huh?
500.
500, yeah, 500. I mean, the guy who had it, he had already applied for another HELOC company locally in his little area, and they denied him, and then we approved him. So that was kind of exciting. So that showed me that pretty much we're a little bit bigger, a little bit more access, and a little bit more better situation for the homeowners. So they might tell you they applied for another one, they didn't get approved. This one actually approved them, which is exciting. Go ahead, hand first. Go ahead.
They have to be up to date on their property tax.
Correct. Property tax and homeowner and insurance and mortgage. They got to be on point with all that, which is good.
Two things.
Go ahead.
If they're behind on their property taxes, they'll still get approved, but they're expected to use a
Pay
portion
it.
of that funds to
Correct.
get caught up immediately.
Absolutely.
And then also he was in an appointment with me, and I went straight to them because in Discovery, she let me know that she had just recently applied with Sunrun,
Right.
and
Didn't get
she
approved.
said 625 was their minimum, and she failed.
Right.
And so I was like, immediately, I'm not going to get her qualified. for
Absolutely.
Sunridge. So I went immediately to the IQ.
100%. No, yeah. And that's perfect why Discovery works, right? Because the first one I did where they got approved for 127,000, same thing. He told me straight up, like, we're working on their credit. I'm barely at 600. You know, I would love to get solar, but every time someone comes, I tell them that. The only reason why I sat down with you guys was because you said supposedly you have something that can help me. And I said, supposedly we do. Let's see if we qualify for this one. You feel me? Let's fill out some paperwork. All right, what's up?
In order for them to get approved for the HELOC program, how long have you had to stay at that property?
1 year.
Technically it's 1 year, but ideally after like 5 or 7 years, they're gonna build a bunch of equity. Like the home I just signed up right now, they were only in there for 4 years, and they only got qualified for 62,000. The home that got approved for 127,000, they've been there for 8 years. So kind of the longer they've been there, the more value you see in the home. What you could do when they tell you, just pull up Zillow, and you'll kind of see right there an estimate of what the home was sold to them for and where it's at, so you can get a taste of what the equity is on the property, and then we can kind of gauge it from there. So that's where asking them, how long have you lived in the home, will definitely play a role for that type of setup with the HELOC. Question? Or the IQ Gen, sorry.
What's the NTP timeline?
Good question. To be discovered. We're working on those right now. Yeah, we're working on those right now. We're going to throw an estimate out here, go ahead. But,
So I have talked to Rashad, the main like point of contact
Yeah.
there, and he said generally we're looking at 2 to 4 weeks before the customer gets funding.
right,
Worst case scenario is 2 months.
right,
But he said that's like the guy wasn't on the deed and they
Right.
transfer the title into his name and all this stuff. But he said generally it's 2 to 4 weeks, and then once we get a cash payment, you know, when it's cash, then
Right.
we can usually get them installed within a week.
Yeah, so ideally, once we get the cash, we're going to install very fast, right? The question is, how long is it take the cash to get to the homeowner? And that's kind of why we're in Discovery right now. We're working on. We have about 4 projects that have already been approved that we're working on. We're just trying to see the timelines on that, and we'll give you guys some more accurate numbers with that for sure. But that's kind of why I'm doing it as a last pivot too, because it's kind of a gray area right there for that. Any other questions on this for the closers? I think it's time already.
So
Yeah, it's already time. Pass it, huh? Last one.
How do you have you done? I don't know how much Thrive you do. I know you normally just sell long loans, but
Shamar does my Thrives.
Shamar does your Thrive.
Thrive guy. My partner in Thrive right there. Not partner in crime, my partner in Thrive. All right, there it goes. We thrive together. It's a Thrive, it goes to Shamar. But yeah, what's your question though? Sorry,
Just curious,
I don't want to cut you off.
Describe the discrepancy in pricing, because like the one I did the other day.
All right, so we went over that actually last night. So I kind of set up a game plan with that. So the discrepancy in the pricing is we're giving you a discount for $40,000, right? And the reason why we're doing that, or whatever it is, right? About $40,000 is the normal. We're giving you a discount for $40,000. The reason why we're doing this is because we're pretty much giving it to you at wholesale, so we can maximize the tax incentive. But in return, right, we're asking that you give us at least 25 or 17 referrals, right? Now, whether they have solar, they might have a true-up. whether they don't have solar, we might be able to help with this similar program or something very close to it. More importantly, we're going to save them money from PG&E. What I do need you to do right now is just let's write down the numbers, 25 numbers or 17 numbers of individuals that you have right now on your phone. Kind of pull your phone up, and we're going to use these as count as cash or something valued as cash. And we do each of our referrals for $225 or $2,500 for each referral. So each one of these are going to count as that. We're going to assume that they go through. If they do or they don't, but they have to be valid phone numbers. Please pull out your phone right now. And we're going to actually gather those numbers right there and text them with them in a group text. Hey, I'm here with Ryan right now. We just helped him get solar. He gave us a referral. He also gave us your phone number, your name, and we're going to send it to him right there before we leave the table. So we're going to try to turn those actual Thrive deals into 17 real referrals. We're not just going to tell them we're going to do it. That's going to be part of the program. We're going to send text messages right now, group texts with that person and the people they gave us. And then we're going to line those up too as well. So that's how we're going to do it. So we're going to make it really seem like these are referrals. And if out of those 17, we get 2, you already know. All right, 2 clap. Did that answer your question? Kind of or no? What else? Tell me what else.
Well, no, the lady assigned, she was just like, well, it's saying here it's $112,000 system. You just told me it's only 26. She was just like, I don't.
So for the tax credit, they just they can legally maximize.
No, I know that. She was just
Right.
like, I feel like I'm lying or something.
Right. And tell her, well, realistically speaking, what we're doing is, you know what I'm saying, we're trying to do this only for the community, for individuals that qualify, right? Obviously, you can afford the full price, you would, right? But we're here helping you out with this special program that's designed for individuals in certain areas so we can put you in the best possible situation. Now, if you want to pay the full amount, you're more than welcome to. But me and you, I'd rather pay X, Y, and Z, and that's what we're going to emphasize to that. Not that you're lying, we're just kind of, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Bending the truth. You're getting it for a discounted rate of the house.
Well, you're not lying. Like,
Right.
I'm sending Brian to a guy at 1:30 today that has a medical discount.
Right.
CPAP machine. He's gonna get free batteries. You know.
There it goes.
So the best way to say it is it's a spectrum, right? Some people get 80% of it covered. Some people get 100% covered. Of course, if you get 80% of it covered, it's a no-brainer. I don't see those people say no. If you get none of it covered, then that's totally different. We're just submitting an application. What was your last name?
There it goes.
Too much power. We can't do it for free. We just don't want to because it's too much paperwork. We don't want to waste our time.
All right, 2 clap. All right, guys, real quick. Next, we're gonna do next 10 minutes. We're gonna do some practice pitching. I want everybody to stand up. Let's do some practice pitching. Guys, some of you guys practice pitch with the same person every single time. I want you to grab somebody new, somebody from a different car group. All right, say hey, you doing? Shake a hand, make a friend. All right, yeah. John and Andrew, you guys know each other. And Andre, you guys know each other. Pitch with somebody else, buddy. All right.